What's up, guys? All right, in this video, we're gonna go over SNR. It's a free course, and after this is pretty much my exit out of Telegram and all that shit. I'm just gonna be focusing on my trades, and that's it. So enjoy this, and let's go. I'm not gonna like fluff any of this. This is just going to be straight content, so it's not gonna be long, drawn out conversations or anything. Okay, but let's get into it. So what are we learning today is advanced SNR. And why do we trade SNR? And it's not your typical SNR. It's not your, your typical retail like SNR, where you're looking at, support or resistance, support, breakout, resistance, breakout, pullback. It's not this, okay? So if you're thinking that it's this, it's not. This is not what we're learning, okay? Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, this is something that I learned from several traders, and I don't know if it originated in Malaysia, but shout out to them because they are pretty great traders over there. And yeah, it's a little different than what we're used to when we were trading smart money, but you can still apply the smart money concepts to it because, well, you'll see why as we progress, because it can be used. So let's look at the first part of this, which we need to understand, is how we view the market. Okay, the way we view the market when using this strategy is just price moving from key level to key level. And what is a key level? Key level is any point that fails to go higher, right? So these are all key levels, or fails to go lower, either way. So for example, if we reset this chart, let's just look at a weekly chart real quick. Okay, so key levels are any of these levels, anything. This is a key level, this is a key level, this is a key level, key level, key level, right? All this is key levels. That's not what's important. It's just we monitor these key levels for certain things to happen. And we'll go over that as we progress through this course, okay? And like I said, we can pair it with any strategy, but we'll go over that in a bit of how do you pair it with the strategy. Okay, so today we're going to learn SNR, we're going to learn multi-time frame, and we're going to learn storyline, okay, and obviously direction, because that's basically what storyline is. So let's start with the essentials. Okay, so in price action, we have two things. There's only two things. We have rejection. Oops. We have rejection, and we have breakout. Okay, that's it. Those are the two things. This is the core of price action, right? And obviously we're looking for these things at a key level. Okay, so that's why we don't really use, you'll always see me use a line chart because I like to see the closing prices. Okay, but we'll go over that as well as we progress through this. Okay, so let's start off with multiple time frame. Okay, so, or storyline, sorry. We'll start off with storyline. So for example, let's just pretend that this is a monthly level. Okay. So we use the higher time frames for direction, monthly, weekly, and daily. That's it. Okay, we don't use those to enter the market. We use H4, H1, M30, H1, M15, M5, M1, right? We can use those for entry depending on the stop loss that is granted to us. So, there's no point for me personally to go down to an M1 chart when I have, let's say, a 5 pip stop loss on H4. That doesn't happen all the time. So most time we're going to be dropping down to the lower time frames to find our entry, okay, to reduce our risk. Anyways, let's continue. So we have monthly, monthly high, monthly low, right? And let's say price is trading like this, okay? So now we've traded to a monthly level above, okay? Now we have roadblocks below for monthly to get to monthly. So we have to know that the storyline, since we're at a monthly level, is monthly to monthly, okay? So we understand, all right, cool. We have closed outside of a monthly zone. So if we have a line chart, it should look like this. Okay, we're not worried about the wicks right now. That comes later in the course. Okay, so we have a close outside of the monthly. So what's our first roadblock to get from monthly to monthly is our weekly levels. Okay, so if we can just pretend that there's weekly levels in here, we understand that monthly is, its destination is the monthly. Okay, this is the most probable outcome, is monthly to monthly. It doesn't mean it's going to happen every time, because it could bounce off a weekly roadblock and continue higher. But that's why we monitor everything level by level. So weekly, we have a weekly roadblock. Now, what's the roadblock between weekly? It's daily. What's the roadblock between daily is H4, and so on and so forth. Okay, and we'll go over which timeframes to use and how they pair. Okay, there's a lot to cover, and I'm going to try to do it within an hour if I can, and hopefully you guys get something out of this. Okay. Anyways, so let's redo this chart real quick so that we can understand. So first of all, we had that monthly to monthly, and we have weekly, and let's just say we have daily. Okay. So we understand the destinations here if we're traveling from here to here. We understand our main direction is to the monthly level, but we have obviously weekly roadblocks. But let's say price trades down into a weekly level, right? Price trades down and finds weekly support right here. Okay. If it finds weekly support, it's going to find the weekly resistance, right? This is our weekly level. So now we have weekly to a weekly level of resistance. Okay. Now let's say weekly travels to daily and respects the daily. What's it going to do? It's going to find the daily level resistance until one of these things breaks. So if daily breaks, it's going to find that weekly level again. Okay. Now let's say this weekly level holds. It's going to find this daily right here, because this is the weekly roadblock to the weekly. If it respects that, then we can find the monthly level. Okay. If not, it's going to pull back and complete the weekly to the weekly. Now it could just keep doing this, and this is why you get sideways action, right? Weekly to weekly to weekly to weekly. But we understand main direction is down to the monthly. Okay. So this is how we understand storyline. Okay. We just have to understand which time frames are in control of each other. And once they complete, we can find the next levels below. Okay. It's going to sound really confusing at first, take some time to study this, but I mean, my course is leaked. So if you guys really want to like dive into it, just go find it somewhere. I'm sure you guys will find it. It's not a problem. Okay. So anyways, let's look at the time frames we use. Okay. So monthly, weekly, daily for direction. We have SNR, RBS, SBR. Okay, let's go over that. So obviously SNR is just support, resistance and support, or support and resistance, right? Here and here. Okay, and then we have this guy and this guy. Okay, so this right here is SBR, support. Support becomes resistance, right? Because we have support here, and then breaks. So it becomes resistance, and then this becomes resistance, becomes support. Okay, simple. This is basic price action, very basic price action. So that's SNR, RBS, SBR. Okay, very simple. I'm trying to make this as simple for you guys to understand as possible. Okay, so let's look at a live chart example. Okay, what do we have here is a weekly level, do we not? Right, we have a weekly level, price breaks down, and then finds the weekly level, right? So weekly to what? Weekly. This would be our weekly support. Okay, so here's our weekly resistance. Price breaks, okay? You also have a weekly level here, right? This is also classified as a weekly level because this is a SBR. Support becomes resistance, right? And we make this weekly level here, okay? Price moves, forms a weekly level, trades back up to the weekly level to find what? The weekly support, to find what? The weekly level here, and then price breaks, okay? Then it formed this weekly level, okay? Price breaks down, moves back up, finds the weekly level, okay? And then you have other weekly levels in here that we are paying attention to on lower time frames, and we understand structure in order to hold on to these trades or to exit these trades, okay? So we'll go over that later, but right now I just want to make sure you guys grasp this basic concept. Okay, so if weekly is breaking down, what are we gonna do is find the monthly level. But for now, we're just gonna stick to the chart. Okay, if I go on monthly, you'll see it here. Okay, this is a monthly curve, which is also, I should have drawn this. So as we have, this is sort of like this. Okay, these curve points are on a lower time frame. They're support and resistance areas as well. Okay, so just understand that curves are a part of it. It could look like this or whatever. Okay, it's a curve. Anyways, let's continue from weekly. Okay, so price breaks down, finds the monthly level, and then we have a breakout here on the weekly. Okay, so what is it going to do? It's going to find the next weekly levels. Once it respects the weekly levels, it's going to come back down to find the weekly level again. Respects the weekly level, it's just going to keep doing the same thing. Here's a weekly curve that it found, pull back to a weekly support. Okay, so price is just moving in and out just like that. Now we also have daily roadblocks, and that's why you get some sort of pullbacks and whatnot. So for example, if we look at this weekly structure here, right, price comes up to it and then pulls back to, let's say, here, this weekly support, right? But then what happened here? Why did price move from here? Well, let's check it out. Because we have a daily roadblock from it getting to its weekly. Okay, so obviously a QM level here, and then support and resistance level here. Okay, I don't know if on your guys' brokers this tapped or not. Depends. You know, gold, depending on your broker, can be like a little bit different. Anyways, so we see as price moved from this weekly zone into this daily zone, right? We have daily breakout. Okay, so daily had broken out. Price pulled back to find this daily level, to find the weekly level. Okay, so price is just moving, like the weekly's roadblock is going to be your daily. So price gets into here and then pulls out, breaks out, right? We have a breakout on the daily. Okay, and as it pulls back, we can sell that daily resistance. Okay, very simple, very, very, very simple stuff. Let me remove this. Okay, so let's write down the timeframes that we're using. So we have monthly, which roadblock is weekly. We have weekly, which roadblock is daily. We have daily, which roadblock is H4. We have H4, which roadblock is H1. And we have H1, which roadblock is M30, and M30, which roadblock is M15, and M15, which is M5, M5 is M1. Okay. So these are the set of timeframes that we use. Okay, and this is just for storyline. Okay, this is just storyline. So we understand monthly is going to trade to monthly, weekly is going to trade to weekly, daily is going to trade to daily, H4 is going to trade to H4, H1 is going to trade to H1. Now, in between those prices, monthly to monthly, we have weekly roadblocks. Weekly to weekly, we have daily roadblocks. Daily to daily, we have H4 roadblocks, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the roadblocks are going to tell us if price is going to continue higher or not. Okay, and then on the vice versa end, let's say we're getting an H1 entry, right? Let's say we have H1 and we break an H4 level. Okay, what does that mean? That means we're going to try to find the daily level. Okay, so we just have to understand how those multiple timeframes work. Let's go over, I mean, it's really like, this is so simple, right? So like, for example, if I know that my storyline is weekly to weekly, right? Let's say from this level that we had found here, the way you would combine the concept is we'd obviously understand that this is OB, right? Or supply zone, okay? Or you can use the support and resistance way, whatever way you want, okay? Obviously, we're not entering off this, we're entering off a lower time frame, but we understand how this is happening and how to enter, okay? But for me personally, like before this is all happening, before this whole move and waiting for it to pull back up to here to take another sell, I'm looking on extreme lower time frames like M15, M5, M1, and then I am following my structures, okay? So for example, let's say I have an M15 entry, okay, for sells, and then I have my M30 roadblock down here, right? So I'm entered sells, and the price reaches this M30, and then it respects it. It could easily break me out like that, right? It could just come back up, okay? Because I have no confirmation that this M30 level broke. So what I'm gonna do is, let's say I have M15 here, I'm gonna wait for it to break this M30 level, and then I'll take the pullback on M15. Okay, so I'll look for my M15 area of entry, and then I'll enter there. And then I'll let it run, okay? And then now from M30, what's our next roadblock is H1, right? So H1, I'm looking to see if it's going to hold price or not, okay? And if H1 doesn't hold price, then we're gonna find that next M30 level, which is here, okay? So we have to monitor price at this level. So from H1 support, we're going to find the M30, okay? And if M30 doesn't hold, then it's gonna go back to whatever H1 level is in here, okay? And if that respects, then we're gonna complete the storyline. So that allows me to hold my trades longer, right? Like I don't have to freak out because I'm in control of the structure. I'm in control of each situation at specific key levels. So at those key levels, I'm waiting for price to either create a reaction and break a higher time frame level. And why is that? Because we have to understand that on the higher time frame, so let's say you have H4. You have H4 sellers, and let's say you're buying from H1. Your H1 needs to break those H4 sellers because you're tripping in other time frame sellers, right? So price will tend to squeeze and pop up because we have H4 sellers on there from different time frames, right? Also, the way we view markets using this, okay, let me just do this real quick. Boom. Let's say price is moving and we want to buy down here somewhere, right? So what price will do is it'll trade into a key level and maybe have a reaction. Now, if it can't break a higher time frame key level, guess what it's gonna do? It's gonna find the next key level and create a new level for it to break. If it can't break that, oops, shit. Okay. If it can't break that, it's going to find another level. If it can't break that, it's just going to keep finding new levels to find enough buyers to break out. And you can take the pullback and enter. Okay, so price is just finding new key levels below until it has enough momentum to break a higher time frame level. That's why price will just continue dropping. Okay, now if it doesn't do that, what it's gonna do is just trade sideways, right? So if it can't break out of any type of range, right? Let's say we're trading here and these are H1 levels, it's just gonna keep trading sideways, respecting H1 SNR until it finds a breakout, pullback until it finds another level. Then it breaks out. Okay. So yeah, like I'm saying, it's really not that complicated. Okay, it's really not. I would say that the knowledge is probably 25% of it, and the rest is just developing the skill to study the price action. Like the best thing for you is going to be forward testing and back testing on the charts. The charts is going to teach you everything. Okay, you just have to have a strategy with it, right? I mean, you can have whatever strategy you want, but you just got to be able to execute it and have the discipline. Okay, but we are all human, so you're definitely going to make mistakes, and that's why we have risk management, and we look for tighter entries because we don't want to risk a lot, but we want to win a lot. Okay. But we also want to capitalize on a move, like a great move. Okay, so like in order to hold those trades longer, you just have to play it level by level. So each level that price comes into, not just TPing just because it came into it, but TPing because this makes sense because we have trend changing direction because of our higher time frame, weekly to weekly completed maybe. Monthly to monthly completed maybe. So that's why I got to exit. Okay, it's not just exiting at a previous high or previous low. That's fine if you're scalping or whatever strategy you want to use. But for me, I'm trying to capitalize as much of the movement as I possibly can. So let's look at gold and see what happened here. Okay, so I understand that I posted earlier that I took a sell right here. Okay, so we had an M30 level here, and I wanted to see if M15 broke it, and M15 did break it, right? And then I just took my M15 level here. Okay, that's just a QM level, and it broke, right? So M15 broke, and the way I trade is I just use my line chart for my structure. I don't care about the wicks or anything. I'm just looking at my line chart for structure, and that's it. So I understand that M30 broke. I'm taking my entry from the QM and drop, right? If we look at M30, we can see price came back up into this M30 resistance right here and then dropped drastically, okay? And same thing from last week, right? Where was it? Let's look at H4. Okay, last week we had an H4 curve right here, and I was looking for sells, and I caught a sell here. I believe it was from M30 as well. Yeah, it was from M30. I was monitoring price action at each of these time frames, at each of these levels. Okay, so as I saw this happening, I think we were on M5. Yeah, so M5, this was our resistance, right? I wanted to make sure that M5 broke an M15. Okay, we had an M15 level here that was broken, okay? So what did I do? And I just entered from here on the pullback to my support. I mean my resistance. Okay, so price pulled back into the resistance and I took the sell. Okay, what happened over here? After when I got that second entry, okay, we had an M5 level here. And this was just a low risk entry. It was a low risk entry, but low probability trade. Basically, I saw this M5 support and support becomes resistance, right? So here, and price moved into it. But I took this trade because the stop loss was going to be very small. I had like a 10 pip stop loss above this high. So price came into it, didn't tag me. I sold this resistance or something like that. And then boom, it dropped. Okay, so when I have like a low risk entry like that where the stop loss isn't that big, I'll just take the trade. So I sold from here and I sold from here. Okay, so I hope this is making sense so far. We can see like the recent price action, right? What happened? Let's look at that. So on monthly, Okay, and remember, we don't enter off monthly, daily, or weekly. So we had this level right here from monthly, trading from this monthly curve. So we have monthly to monthly. But this is, obviously a big ass wick. So we can drop to weekly and refine that wick. We have a weekly level. We don't enter off weekly. We have a daily. Here's your daily level, but we don't enter off daily. We have H4, which H4 we can use for entry. Now this would be a first entry high risk, okay, depending on how big of an SL you have, and you can just enter from there, right? But, oops. Okay, you can see how price moved right to the H4 and then moved aggressively down. But let's look at that weekly chart again, okay? So we understand. Okay, so we traded into this monthly, so we should be finding a monthly level, which our monthly level was right here. We had a breakout here, so this is considered a monthly level, key level that we're just monitoring. Doesn't mean we're buying it or selling it or anything, okay? And then we have these monthly levels, okay? But price isn't there yet. But we expected after trading to the monthly that we would find the next monthly, which was here, okay? And then we can drop down to our weekly and find our weekly storyline. Okay, so we had weekly price action here. Let me remove these drawings. Okay, as price broke out and found the monthly, what's the roadblock? It's the weekly. Okay, so price moved to the weekly to find what? The weekly. Okay, so price moved from weekly to weekly after trading from weekly to monthly to find monthly, which was also right here. Okay, but now we're trading weekly to weekly, so let's look at our daily. Okay, so this is our daily level here. Price found the daily, okay, and daily is going to find what? The next daily, which we had a daily level here that it found, here, 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 okay? But we're monitoring price on a lower time frame to see if its price is going to continue to find the next key level. But we understood as well that this was weekly to weekly, okay? So price was just simply finding the next weekly zone, which was down here and here. Okay, so price came down here, and this would have been a pretty good TP for you if you wanted to TP or monitor price and find the next weekly level down here. Okay, then if we monitor our H4, okay, so price on my charts, there's a curve here, so I'm just gonna mark that as the curve because on mine MT4 there's actually a curve here. So H4 is going to find what? H4. Okay, so H4 to H4. We also have this H4, so H4 to H4 to H4. Okay, so price moved from this RDS, comes up, finds this, and moves down. Okay, so we understand that looking at the lower time frames, we can control the structure. We have no reason to exit this trade. There was no opposing breakout. Okay, so you could just hold. Okay, we have a level here for H4 that it found, and then we can monitor price here, and maybe we want to use M30 or M15. If let's say we're using M15, and we just look for our M30 level. Okay, so here's M15. Let's look at our M30. We had a breakout right here on M30, right? Price pulled back, broke out right there. So we just monitor M15 after the breakout. Okay, and what happens is price moves, breaks out, pulls back to M15. And then you get the rally. And then now we have an area here that we can monitor. Okay, So pretty simple, nothing complicated. And, you know, on a lower time frame, or if you wanted to use this as an OB or whatever, you could use this and then drop down to your M1 and wait for an M5, okay? So as price is approaching this area, we just look at M5 to be broken because M1 is in control of M5. Okay, it doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look like you could have got an entry unless you used the curve as your break, which I don't like doing, but it is a thing that you can use. But I just don't do that. Okay, so there's your curve. Price is moving down and then up. Let's see. So basically what you're waiting for is a level, right? So let's just call this M5. And then you're waiting for the breakout of a higher time frame. So for example, if this is, let's call this M15. If this is M15 and we're on M5 chart, we want this M15 level to be broken by M5. Okay, so this will be your M5 level. This will be your M15 level that was broken by M5. Okay, so you can take the reentry here or here. The realities of trading is that sometimes you're going to have two levels like this and you're going to be like, damn, do I sell from here or do I sell from here? And in trading, you know, your whole thing is to have a very small loss and big wins. So sometimes it's going to take two entries. You enter here and then have your SL wherever, and then if it hits it, it hits it. But you know that it's going to the next key level, right? Because it broke. So once it breaks, then you can take a sell from here, right? Granted, you can change it up. If you're the type of person that doesn't like to trade from here, you just trade from here, okay? And shrink your SL, right? But, you know, in the realities of trading, you're going to incur losses. It's not a thing that's not known. It's just part of the game, okay? Trying to think of what else to go over because it's really not that much to go over. It's fairly simple. You can do this with any pair, right? Any pair you want to trade, you can use this. You just have to understand, you know, like I said, your multiple time frames using your higher time frame for your direction. And let's go over that real quick. So let's say we want direction. So let's say we have a monthly level here, but we have no breakout. It's just a rejection. Okay, we can use our lower time frames at this level, right? We can use H1 and wait for a breakout type of structure. So once we have the breakout from H1, we can take the sell, and then at these new key levels that are below, we're just monitoring price at those levels. So as price is traveling, you know, we just want to make sure that we understand each time frame. Like, okay, cool. If I got an H1, let's break H4. Let's say this is the H4 level. It breaks H4, pulls back to the H1. You can re-enter another sell. Now we're expecting H4 to break. H4 breaks. What are we going to find? The next daily level. Okay, so I'm just monitoring price at each level. I'm not doing anything else other than that. Okay, I'm just using price action at key levels and just watching for rejections and breakouts, and then using my higher time frame to confirm my bias. So if I'm entering off M5, I'm looking for my M15 zone to break. If my M15 zone doesn't break, then I know I'm probably going to have to exit that trade because it's going to find a key level higher than my M5 if I was looking for sells, right? It's going to find the next level above it to take my sells from. Okay, so, or it might just retest that zone again. It depends on you, on your strategy. If you want to leave it break even and re-enter. If not, then, you know, just let it hit your SL. That's not my problem. That's all up to you. Okay. But in the essentials of this, it's just looking at key levels, waiting for the reaction to break a higher time frame level to trip in other traders. Okay. Other than that, there's my course that's leaked. I go way more in depth than that. You guys can have it. Just find it somewhere. I'm not going to obviously provide a link to it, but you guys can, I'm sure you guys can find it. So Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll be posting it.